Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod. I'm here to talk about BBUK 2023, day 39 through the finale. Before I dive in, thank you to everyone who listened to these updates along the way. It really means a lot to me, everyone who has subscribed and will subscribe in the future. So let's dive into it. It's day 39 in the Big Brother house. The house guests wake up. Jordan, Tom, and Jenkin are still in the secret room. Shout out to the graphics team for all the 3D visuals that happened this season. Tom says he'd rather watch his mom have a wank than go back into the house. The house guests are turned into cowboys. Naki says chaps are business in the front and party in the back. Yee-haw. In the spare room, Jenkin tells Jordan he sees a real side to him now, and he feels like Jordan deserves to go back. In the house guests have to ride a mechanical bull. If they last more than 5 minutes on the bull, they win. They all do really terribly, and Big Brother tells them they did stay on for more than 5 minutes, which I really don't believe, but okay, Mr. B. In the diary room, Olivia says Yinrin is innocent and a good girl. Interesting because Olivia's friends have been bashing Yinrin in the secret room this whole time. The house guests then have to do gross shots as Cotton Eye Joe plays and Naki throws up on the floor. Later at night, they do the eviction that we already saw where Jenkin and Tom go, and Jordan rejoins the group. Jordan gives them all the tea from the spying room, how Jenkin and Tom interrogated Yinrin, and how Jenkin felt body shamed by Olivia. Jordan tells Yinrin that they felt like people in the house are overly nice to Yinrin and treat her like a child. It's nice that her reaction is super understanding. Later in the diary room, Olivia feels like an outsider because her friends are gone and now they're outside of the house and she feels like they're upset with her. And now Jordan, who she nominated, is back in the house. On the floor, Yinrin asks Henry if he feels the way the others feel about her being childish, and he's a super supportive friend to her. In the hot tub, Jordan and Henry say how much they missed each other and they hug it out, then they hold hands in bed as the day comes to a close. On day 40, Henry diaries about how he's been a snob since he was a kid. Maddie, who's barely been active on the show in days, cries in the diary room about how he's missing his family. Big Brother tells them that half of them are getting 7 minutes in heaven and half of them get nothing. They'll have to decide to either enter heaven or let someone else go in. Big Brother offers Naki a sushi buffet, or Yinrin can get 7 minutes of tea, and Naki takes the sushi. When Naki comes back, Yinrin pretends to be upset and it's funny. Big Brother offers Maddie 7 minutes of dancing to Florence and the Machine versus Olivia having 7 minutes of karaoke. He chooses his heaven. These prizes are so whack, and Maddie's dancing alone in the room is so cringe. Jordan gets offered 7 minutes of wine and classical music, or Henry can spend 7 minutes with his dog, which is an obvious choice, so Jordan lets Henry see his dog for 7 minutes, and this was really the only good prize in heaven, where everyone else's dog's busy. Later on, they all get their letters from home, and this is appropriate for the episode before the final, but remember when they got photos from home like the first week? At the end of it, Yinrin reads Maddie his letter, and at the end of the letter, it's revealed that the whole letter was written by Big Brother, and that it's a fake letter, and that he's been evicted, and this was very fucked up. So we have to say goodbye to Maddie here, who overall I feel like was a really random addition to this cast, where he had so many interesting things about him with his backstory, being in an open relationship, and overall gave some really teachable moments to the show. But I don't know how many people in the end are really watching this for teachable moments. People are really tuning in for arguments, messy drama, none of which I feel like Maddie really wanted to participate in. Yes, he was involved in the love triangle, which ended up being the overall big storyline of the season, but that wasn't really of his doing. I don't think he really wanted to be part of that, but Jordan just had a crush and was a little obsessed with Maddie. In the end, I'm not really sure why Maddie even applied to be on the show. Overall, it just seems like he was just there to have fun, and he did have a lot of fun a lot of the time, but towards the end, it seemed like he was pretty miserable there, especially the last few days, but I feel like it was really weighing the fact that he didn't get a video call from home, and a lot of other people had love from their loved ones. Even on the day that he was evicted, he was really upset, and for this eviction, I feel like if he actually got a letter from home before he got that fake letter from Big Brother, it would have been more humane, but to give someone who desperately wanted love from home fake love seemed very cruel to me. Following the eviction, Yinrin is destroyed in the diary room. Maddie seems like her best friend or one of her best. She cries and sings, and Big Brother then tells them that the final reckoning is over, and they're all in the final now. We get to the live final. AJ is wearing her silky vampire corset, and Will finally decided to show up to work and is wearing his boring black suit, especially after AJ did the whole last eviction by herself. I feel like we really just don't need Will. Let AJ be the host, let Will do the after show. We go back to day 41 in the Big Brother house. It's their last full day in the house. They're all getting in glam, and Jordan says he looks like a bloody pimp. They all do little speeches around their final dinner table. Then they all dance and celebrate. Jordan and Henry have one last kiss, and AJ says that applications for the next series of Big Brother are now open, so I guess there'll be another season. They go back to the house and tell us that the 5th place housemate is Naki. We get an eviction interview and best bits on the show, which they should bring back for the actual eviction shows. So let's talk about Naki, who I definitely wasn't shocked to see come in 5th place here. Naki never did anything to get evicted. She was was always minding her P's and Q's in the house, which led other housemates to accuse her of being fake and nominating her for that reason. Overall, I did feel like she was a very put together person, and the other housemates were taken off guard by that. As a viewer, I didn't fault her for it. I thought she was cool. But while she didn't do anything to get evicted, I also don't feel like she really did anything to deserve to win the show. For example, there were plenty of situations where she was in the right and had the opportunity to speak up, maybe get into an argument, which would have been good TV and a good look for her, but she kind of just ended up taking a backseat to some of the drama. And that's a really good strategy to get to a final, but without those memorable moments, it's hard to get people to vote for you for the win, and I'm not surprised to see her out first here. Here's one that really shocks me, but we find out that the 4th place housemate is Yinren. The crowd was really surprised by this too, and this is why we can't have nice things. For me, Yinren was a god tier housemate, funny and likable the whole time. We got some really great personal content from her, especially with her boyfriend coming to visit. That was a really great moment. Made a lot of friends, open to learning and growing throughout. I guess the thing that's missing that probably took away votes in the end from Yinren is there wasn't this bigger narrative or story that people really look for when they're choosing who to win. Like, yes, I feel like she learned from others throughout and learned a bit about herself, but she didn't really learn enough for people to feel like this is who I want to reward. And I don't think that Yinren was drama enough for the people who are voting. But I'm kind of sad that we won't see Yinren again on TV. I guess it's just one of those people I'll be following on Instagram forever. 3rd place ends up being another shocker for me, being Henry, who my instinct was telling me was going to be the winner. I feel like in the story of the love triangle, Henry is the most sympathetic character. So much content of Henry kind of sitting idly by as his crush Jordan is flirting with somebody else. I feel like that was super reliable. Also, a lot of silliness on the show, not afraid to look ridiculous and really dive into the show. And overall, a lot of the time I feel like he was being used by Jordan. Also, I feel like the content of him playing with his dog the day before the final would help him get votes. Overall, I feel like his overall demeanor just made him not very relatable to the viewing public. Also, I'm from America, obviously. My impression was that he had a lot of political beliefs that alienated potential voters. And overall, if I was watching casting videos, I don't know if I would watch his and be like, this is someone who needs to be on reality television. I feel like he kind of shot himself in the foot playing up his political beliefs to get onto the show, but then you get onto the show and what are you gonna do now? So then it's down to the final two, Jordan and Olivia, an unlikely duo, and the winner is revealed to be Jordan. So let's talk about Olivia first, who I feel like was a really interesting character. I feel like she was kind of all the ingredients of someone that should be on a reality show, but like baked to like 90%. She's fun, loud, interesting, outgoing. She really dove into every task and made things funny. Also, I feel like Olivia was very surprisingly fair and self-aware. She knew when it was appropriate to apologize. She was a great listener, wouldn't just apologize to apologize, but would really hear someone's point of view and acknowledge where they're coming from. I also feel like Olivia did a good job of picking her battles. Olivia knew that an argument with Trish would be a bad idea for her and for Trish and for the entire house. So she was always managing that relationship with Trish and with the other side of the house, which really served her in and out of the house. I think the biggest issue with Olivia is just her judgment of people and who she decides to be friends with is pretty rotten. The worst times of her on the show were when she was defending Paul and his actions, kind of just co-signing narratives that the public weren't on board with, when he was evicted saying they did this, referring to the other side of the house, things like that. But in the end, Jordan ends up winning by such a wide margin over her. And let's talk about Jordan, who I think definitely was the main character of this season and wins in the end, rightfully so. He has this very dry personality that I think in real life we're just drawn to people like this and think they're really interesting. I think more of us than not want to be able to be openly cynical and not pretend like everything is fine all the time and smiling and laughing at things that you don't want to. So I do think it's really respectable that an entire party could be happening and Jordan just sitting there eating food and watching it happen. As I said earlier, I think it definitely helps that Jordan was the center core of what ended up being the main storyline this season. But there weren't really many storylines that really happened this season. The two main storylines this season were the love triangle and the house divide, and I feel like Trish was more the lead character of the house divide storyline. I do feel like if Jordan was nominated one of those early weeks, he could have been evicted. When it's vote to evict, people who are just involved in major storylines end up getting voted out. But the plus side in the risks that you take in being active in the social dynamics in the house are that if you make it to the final, you have a really strong chance of winning the game, which is what we see happening here. And Jordan definitely isn't innocent. I said in my previous videos that I feel like Jordan was really using Henry to kind of construct this storyline. It's not speculation on my behalf. Henry had genuine feelings for Jordan, and Jordan was kind of leading Henry on, admittedly, because he would kiss Henry, who he knew had a crush on him, and then go to the diary room and say, this is just platonic. It just makes no sense to me, but okay. I don't actually feel like anyone's feelings were getting hurt, so it's just something worth talking about. These are grown adults, and no one's getting too hurt about drunk kissing. I feel like for a first season back after a few years, Jordan is a really good winner. Now, if you listen to my channel regularly, you'll know that I have a bit of a habit of rooting for the girls. That's right, I've got rooting for the girls syndrome. So next season, I really hope the production team nails it with the female cast. Let's get some potential winners. Let's review their Twitters, get it together. But the good thing is, because they're casting for it, I think we can expect another season, which is a thumbs up from me. I'll be here to cover it when it happens. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can get my updates when it does happen. I'll be back then or sooner if they do Celebrity Big Brother. But until then, I hope you have a happy holiday and happy new year. Can't believe I'm saying that. Bye.